Well, as the title, Centesimus Annus, the 100th year, quickly signals, this was the 100th anniversary of the first social encyclical, Rerum Novarum, by Leo XIII. What John Paul II came to understand in the process of the development of that encyclical is that the world had changed in dramatic ways over those 100 years. And one of the crucial, most important changes was that wealth was no longer stuff in the ground, natural resources, whatever, or the ground itself, agricultural land. The source of wealth was human creativity applied to stuff. And of course, the perfect example of this was silicon. I mean, there had been silicon on this planet for billions of years. Silicon was worth nothing until human creativity figured out how to make microchips. And suddenly you've got the greatest explosion of wealth in human history. He understood that, and so in a sense he dematerialized Catholic social doctrine, which had tended to think of wealth in materialistic terms. Who owns the iron ore, what's making of steel, who owns the agricultural land. If wealth is stuff, and as the old saw has it, God isn't making real estate anymore, there's a fixed pie, then the moral question is fairly obvious. How do you equitably divide up the pie? If wealth is generated by human creativity, so that it's an expanding pie, then the moral question shifts, the primary moral question shifts, from slicing up the fixed pie to getting people into the process of expanding wealth. The empowerment of individuals through education, opportunity, the formation of the habits that allow you to enter circles of production and exchange so that you help create wealth and you become better off yourself. He understood all that in a way that a lot of people who imagine they're doing Catholic social doctrine 40 years after Centesimus Annus still don't understand. And that was a fundamental shift. Now, a lot more stuff in Centesimus Annus than economic theory. He nailed down the point that the fundamental problem of communism was anthropological, that it misread the human person by denying the reality of God. If you don't get God right, you're not going to get human beings right. And if you don't get human beings right, you're going to get society, economics, culture, and politics wrong. So nailing down that point, that the fundamental problem of communism and why it was going to collapse at some point was its failure to grasp the spiritual character of the human person, was very important. It's also in Centesimus Annus that John Paul II begins to challenge this notion of freedom as I did it my way, and lift up a nobler view of freedom as freely choosing the right thing as a matter of moral habit. And that was a real challenge to the dominant notions of freedom in the Western world at that time, or indeed in our time. So there's a lot in that document that still bears reading. Let's see, 91, 2001, 2011, 2021, many decades later. And read it on its own. I mean, don't read it through filters of people pushing political agendas and reading it.